I'm going to show you how to install a Rainbow offline automatic feeder. This is the model 300. I'm going to make sure the pool's off and not going to come back on. Here's the parts bag that comes with the Chlorinator. It has the black tubing also that you're going to need to hook up the Chlorinator with. And it has the unit itself, of course. Okay, what you need for the job is some Teflon tape for the fittings that go into the Chlorinator. A 3/8 drill bit, a drill of course, a wrench to get the clamps on the Chlorinator, I'll get to that part later, and a razor blade to cut the tubing for the Chlorinator. Let's put the parts on the Chlorinator first. I'm going to put the inlet dial here. Okay, so the dial goes on top right here, and I put some Teflon tape. I'm going to go ahead and thread it in. And you want that threaded in fairly good. You don't want to overdo it because you could snap it. It shouldn't leak once you have it threaded in good. Okay, once we have that in, we'll turn it over and you'll see a red plug in the bottom. Let's get that out. We'll put the bottom elbow in. This is where the elbow check valve goes. You can hear a little BB in there, and when it turns off, that stops the flow of water. That's also the part that goes bad. It gets clogged up with the chlorine tablet paste. So you have to change this if that happens and you find your feeder not working. Go ahead and thread that in here. Should go in fairly good. I like to have them facing the same direction when I'm done. Okay, so both of those are in. I'm going to go ahead and set this aside now, and I'll show you how to actually plumb it in to your system. You want to make sure the inlet is before the heater, and here's where I'm going to put the inlet. I marked it with some electrical tape so you can see it. And then the outlet's going to be where it comes out of the heater. So there's the heater. It's coming out. And it's coming over here. So I'm going to go ahead and put it right here on this pipe. And drill right here for the outlet. And I'm going to go ahead and drill right here for the inlet. So I got those two holes drilled. This one is for the inlet and this one here is for the outlet. We're going to take the parts bag. We're going to get the right parts here. We're going to get this piece here, and we're going to get this little O-ring also. I'll get two of those. The larger end is the one that goes into the pipe. The small end goes into the tubing. So I'll put that through the O-ring on here. Okay, so you want to run it through the hole in the clamp. There's a hole just actually made for the size. You put it in there like that. We'll go ahead and put the clamp on here. I'm going to go ahead and clamp it. Okay, and it should look something like this here. That's kind of bright. I'll go ahead and tighten the clamp. You want it pretty tight. You don't want this thing moving, otherwise water will come out when it turns on. I usually go until I can't turn it anymore, so that's under tight. So that's the inlet. Once you got it hand tight, you can use the wrench to get it tighter. Depending on how your Chlorinator is set up, I'm just going to cut this one directly in half. You may need to cut more for the inlet or the outlet, but I'll just cut this one directly in half. I'm going to try to make a clean cut. And so it should fit over the tubing like this, with that direction, the small one this way. We're going to put the tubing on here. And since it's new tubing, it should go on pretty easily. And we'll take this nut and we'll tighten it. Hand tight is fine. We'll do the same thing with the bottom. I'm going to slide that over the tubing. Looks something like this. Then we'll go ahead and attach it to the bottom elbow check valve. Again, you want it snug right against the fitting. Let's go ahead and put this on. I usually stop once I get to where I can't turn it anymore, and it's on tight. Okay, now here's the important part. We got the Chlorinator. Now we're going to hook it up to the right locations on the equipment and the holes that we drilled. Okay, now this top part with the dial that controls the flow of chlorine is the inlet, and the bottom elbow is the outlet. And so the inlet will go before the heater. This one here is actually marked inlet, which is helpful. I'm going to go ahead and jam the tubing on and then tighten this nut up, and I'm going to do the same thing with the outlet. I'm going to stick the outlet one on, tighten it up, and there's the Chlorinator hooked up. Not very difficult at all. Okay, let's turn everything on and see if there's any leaks. so far so good. Everything looks good here. Outlet, nothing coming from underneath the chlorinator. Everything is sealed good. Okay, open the lid now and you can start filling with tablets. You can also lube the O-ring up. Comes with some lube in the parts kit. I went ahead and lubed that up. And so that's how you install the Rainbow 300 Off-line Chlorinator to your pool. And here's another chlorinator for you. You can see that the inlet here is actually attached right here, coming out of the filter before the heater. And then the outlet here from the bottom of the chlorinator is attached to this pipe here, coming out of the heater. And here's the inlet for the chlorinator. It's coming in right out of the filter outlet, going into the chlorinator. And then the outlet for the chlorinator is coming down here and attached to this pipe here, coming out of the heater. So again, for a better look, the inlet is right there, and the outlet is coming out of the pipe right after the heater. Okay, so with the hole in the pipe, you'll have your gasket, then you have the plastic fitting insert, and then you have the clamp that goes around it. And the gasket should fit flush against the PVC pipe where you drilled the hole.